we'll be doing another letter. It is time to do the T. So, with the T, I figure most likely to go up and over. Most of the letters end on this side, so I think what I'll do is have the face go up to the right and then to the left. I could even have it come back to make a full form. That might be good. So I have that sort of form. Just go up to the right and then to the left and back around. So it does that sort of deal. And then once it's done, go up in that form, follow around, and with the head here, drop down, bounce out, land slightly to the right, and then it loops back over again. So that's the plan. Hello, Apiac celery. So let's get going with sketching out this T shape. I'll crop in a little bit. Make sure we're good on focus. And let's start into the T. So this one's just going straight up. Curving around. Going this way and coming back. Let's tighten this up a little. This is going to be an animation today, Kosbara. I have enough time. Because it's a Tuesday. It'll be a series of drawings, but it'll eventually be an animation. So I'll be going for a while, making sure that I had already started recording. So how do I want this to go about? I think it should probably be just that it turns this way and then it's going out that way. Generally have this form going, and then curves back around. As such. I'm not sure what you're getting at. I'm gonna clear some of this excess ink out. quite as chaotic in that space. Not sure what you're asking. Can I help you with anything? I'm good for now. I don't have anything that I'm looking for help with. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And this reference guy settled. Hello, May Romero. Hello, Daesh, and Notiodio. That up a little. When did I start doing art in general? Well, I've been doing art pretty much all my life. Animating I've been doing on and off since I was like in 5th grade. A more sort of specific realized I started doing in college. Let's get these lips. I'm aware of Egypt. I know some people who are Egyptian. There's a decent Egyptian population where I'm at. I don't know a lot of people in that community personally, but there's a large Coptic church nearby. I've never been. The furthest, I'm in the US, the furthest east that I've been from here is Switzerland. I think Switzerland is the farthest east that I've been. It's been a while. This is the riff. Thank you. I have this design available online. If you're not shipping in the US, then you'd have to do it on a case-by-case basis, but it would probably be an extra $5 to get to you. But it is available. You can look through other designs that I have on my website, TraceLoops.com. If you want to get to the store specifically, make it traceloops.com/store. My voice sounds sad. Depends on how I'm talking on things. That's a weird thing to get at. It might be a consequence of the fact that I have a sore on my tongue right now. So I might not be as enthused to talk, but that might be an element of it. Or you might just be saying that I have a voice that's sad in general. In which case, thanks for being upfront about it? I don't know. What did I study in college? I studied graphic design in college. And so there are elements of graphic design that come into my work in the sense that it is graphic and simplified. And a decent amount of like logo design has to accommodate for the fact that different printing and manufacturing processes require you to have things in a monochromatic design, something that has only black or white, or just solid color bits. And so having that sort of background influenced various aspects of the work that I'm doing. Have I tried academic? Decently okay when it comes to more academic pursuits, like math and science. I'm not the best at English, language arts sort of things. I can do okay, but that was always the classes that I struggled with more so in school. Oh, academic or figure drawing. Sometimes the preview things get cut off for the messages. I've done some figure drawing here and there, but accurate rendering of things isn't the most interesting aspect of art for me. It's impressive, but it's not my interest. I can do okay with it, but it's not where I'm most talented or where I find the most interest in the work itself. What do I do for a living? I make animations. I sell things. I animate. I do custom work. Some merchandise. Hello, Connie. I've done in the past some manual labor-based things. Not as much recently, because I'm not super comfortable going into spaces. So if I don't need to, then I won't. The ink is Sumi ink, S-U-M-I ink. It's a Japanese ink, and the brand is Yasutomo. I use a scanner. I have a CanoScan LIDE CanoScan Lide 400 scanner that once I'm done with the physical components of these, then I will scan them each individually and take those frames to make an animation. That's okay. You can ask questions. I'm just not sure what the answer is to explain more about like home scanning and stuff. Just scan them page by page. Hello, Bruno. Hello, unknown. The software that I use for actually animating stuff, I'll import the frames using just image capture, which is the default thing for Mac for scanning, and then I'll take those and open them in Photoshop to do some basic editing because it's easier to work with them that way. I'll load them into a stack, and then I'll save out those stills. Depending what the format is, I can save it directly out as an animated GIF, but otherwise I save them as individual files, as stills, and then I'll use Premiere to actually then import those stills as an image sequence and export a video file, because Photoshop is pretty limited in what file formats you can export from directly or indirectly, so you have to just sort of like take the components and pass them along to another program. And yeah, that's my general workflow. So I'm using Photoshop and Premiere. You're welcome. I work digitally sometimes, but not so often. That's not my primary interest. Never works as well for me. It's just a little excess moisture there, so I'm trying to dry it off by filling in the solid, pulling some of that excess ink to greater surface area. That's the old alarm. So what I was doing first was I was drawing out the letter form, drawing the T. So this is the start and the end point, and this is the midpoint here. So this is the most complex and specific form that the animation will have in it. So I need to get this down and settled correctly. So what I do is I draw this first, and then I go backwards towards the beginning. And once I do that, I go from this midpoint to the end point, because it's creating a loop. So at this point, I already did the reverse section, the part where it's going from the middle back to the beginning. And now I'm going from the middle to the end. $19. 20. $21. $22. $23. $24. Thanks, SAC Handicrafts and Ibrahim. $26. $7. $29. $30. $91. $31. $32. 33. Four. Five. Six. Hello, Manoa. What was the last one? 38. 9. Hello, Kami Pei. Hello, Big Frank. $40. Okay. I'm doing okay. How are you doing, okay? Let's widen this out. Thank you, Big Frank. Hello, Spawn Comics. Hello, Lego Studio. Hola. apellido compuesto. Hello, Lucy / Hudson. Thank you all for watching as you're watching. I appreciate it. Oh, I'll take this moment to say that this is one of the last few regular live streams that I'm going to be doing on Instagram. If you want to continue checking these out, I'm pivoting over to Twitch and testing out that platform and seeing how it goes. It's a little bit better for this being a little bit longer form because it's a less active sort of action. Instagram Live seems better for mid-length sorts of things or more interactive bits, and Twitch is a little bit better suited for observing. So if you want to follow me there, the same username as what I have here, which is TraceLoops. Plan on keeping the same general hours and frequency. Just want to try working in that space, seeing how it functions. Also, if you don't have Twitch, don't like that format, but still want to see these streams in full, you can watch them on YouTube. Finally got to be able to customize the channel name, which it's TraceLoops. So if you go youtube.com/c/TraceLoops, it'll pop up. I'm also testing out like mid-length versions of these that aren't quite as rapid necessarily, but still don't take quite as long to view. Get a little bit more promotion on about an 11-minute version of one of these that originally took 4 hours and change. That one was not intended for that format, so it's got some shortcomings about it, but as far as I think what I have to do is end up catering some two different formats a little bit, push one way or the other in conveying information or concepts, treating something as a tutorial, or giving a little bit more planning, I think is the main thing that I need to consider. Just generally planning more. If I want to attract a more consistent audience that understands what it is that they're getting into on any given day. Because right now it's more of like, I figure it out when I figure it out, and then I'm going. So I appreciate you watching. If you want to continue watching on those formats, please do so. But I'll still be posting here on Instagram the sped up versions of these, the time-lapse reels and such. You can also follow on TikTok if that's a preference you might have, or an interest. It's essentially the same stuff, maybe slightly different formatted, because they have a set thing to it, in the sense that you can't change the aspect ratio. It's stuck to 16:9, or a little bit out one way or the other. But and some of their music licensing is a little bit different than what Instagram has available, so sometimes I choose one song over another. In that format, but same username there. TraceLoops. Trying to think of stuff to talk about, because I'm realizing more if I ever try to engage in live streams, that I appreciate having some sort of direction or interaction, something going on. I just get a little bit sidetracked and my throat's a little bit dry, so I don't want to push it too hard for talking for hours on end, but I'm getting closer to being done with these. What letter are we at? I was actually just about to get to it by saying that. Getting closer to being done with the alphabet, and I gotta figure out, I might do numbers afterwards, but today is T, the letter T. Today is where here's my baseline. Which means I can finally spell my name. Both TraceLoops and the name that I go by. Because I needed to get to T. Can't spell my full name. But TraceLoops I can spell. I'll probably do that as a promotional thing. And see what it looks like to have the letters going. Maybe I'll have to like figure out how to have the letters going next to one another as opposed to flowing into one another, because that's most of what I've done for spelling anything recently, or showing the letters in succession, is having the letters flow into one another, but it doesn't as clearly explain that it's spelling something in that scenario. Because you're most of the time TraceLoops, TraceLoops, A B C D F G. I think I have all the. I don't think that there's a U. You missed the S. If you want to watch it, you can watch the full process on YouTube, but there's the baseline for the S. My name doesn't have a U in it. My first name. Technically, my first name is something different. I've always gone by my middle name. Matthias is Mattias. Can't spell your username yet, though. Almost there. Well, I don't have 18, but I've got S. And almost a U. Anything about what I want to do for you. But getting closer to being done with the alphabet. And then I gotta figure out where it goes from there. Hello, Cheez-It baby. So satisfying. Ah, well, you have the same name as my mom, but I don't call her Susan. What type of brand what brand / type of ink do you use? This is Sumi ink, S-U-M-I. It's a Japanese ink. And the brand is Yasutomo. Usually it comes either in a green bottle or a black bottle with a red cap, like this. The green bottle is a little bit more circular. I think that one might have varnish or something in it. It's slightly different. But I don't notice a huge difference because I'm not layering it up or doing as fine of work. But I like Sumi ink a lot. It dries in a sort of flaky way. It doesn't get gummy. It's a little bit thicker, but because it takes me so long to work on these, where I just like pour ink at the start and then I keep working for several hours, it functions better than when in the past I've used like Speedball India ink, though it's cheaper to get Speedball India ink. I believe that Sumi ink is made from vegetable soot. I'm not sure if that's advantageous or not for something, but it has a very nice black to it, and it doesn't require as many layers going into it. I think you can thin it out. It's not the best for waterproof sort of stuff, at least in my experience, but I haven't done a lot where I know a lot of people who will ink drawings and then come back and fill in the solids with color. They'll do outlines and then do like watercolor on top of it, and when I've tried that a little bit here and there, it wasn't the best, but I think it was mainly me being impatient, not letting it dry fully, or being heavy with the watercolor. The brushes that I use a cheap circular or round brush. I don't know what size it is, but it's close to a size 0. It doesn't have any size or markings on it. I don't know what brand it is either. I just bought a bunch of them online for like $7 for 100 or something, where in the past I would have gotten like, or maybe it was $15. It was, I think, a little bit more, but the number of brushes that I got was such that it was less than $1. It was just a few cents per brush, which I tend to be a little bit rough with my brushes. Hello, Lynn, or Lino, or Lynn0. Not sure what your username is meant to imply, but hello. Now we're getting to a part in the animation where I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna act, because what I'm trying to do is to blur it. The idea is that it spins quickly at this point, and I don't have too much experience in doing blurs like this. I'll do stretches, animation blurs in that way, and if you're unfamiliar, an animation blur is sort of faking motion blur. It's taking things or actions that happen quickly or in an extreme way and exaggerating them, distorting them in a way that when it plays back it makes more sense and is cohesive in that way. But I'm not the best at knowing how to approach that. You have to make it different from one frame to the next, but in a way that continues to imply the motion. And so this is something of a test. I would have an understanding of it, but practice is different than knowing the concept of it. So if you have something like this face, and I'm trying to explain that it's twisting very fast and it's black and white, so you have to have components of both black and white, and possibly things that are representative of the features of the face. So that's sort of the nose and that's sort of the mouth, but conceptually this nose should be wrapped around like 2 or 3 times. Hello K7L.FF. Welcome to the stream. So like if you ever were to break down and look at, I'm not sure, I don't have a good sense of what people's awareness is of slightly older cartoons. Like I don't know if they're as ubiquitous as they were when I was younger, because in the mid-late 90s Looney Tunes were like on leather jackets or denim jackets and stuff, and a lot of like tall tees, which was weird. Anyway, Tasmanian Devil is almost exclusively motion blurs when that character is moving, and so you have this super blurred tornado looking thing that has to just shift a bit from one frame to the next, but it's an abstracted version of a spinning character going very quickly. I have not spent a lot of time studying the individual, hello Java, the individual frames of animations. I've looked at bits and pieces, but it's usually a distorted face. That's where I gravitate towards, is an animation where the face is distorted, because I am attracted to faces in different ways that they're rendered or displayed and abstracted, but I have not spent as much time looking at full body or more exaggerated movements that are faster and even more abstracted and start to only have representation or any sort of meaning when put into a larger context, which is what these faces will have as they start to progress. But I'm not sure if it's better to have it be more solid black, because conceptually these heads are more black than they are white as far as what covers them, because the reverse of the head is black, just solid black, and the front has the nose, mouth, eyes, and such. And so the majority of the figure of the faces is black. So I don't know how I'm rendering these, how I'm drawing these is going to translate to a strong understanding of that figure and what it would average out to be. But I'll find that out after I scan these and start to see them playing back at the intended speed. So we're getting closer to being done. These last frames should move at a decent pace because they're not complex or highly detailed. Here's a different example of that face being blurred, so the eyes are going in succession. Hello, Zaricia? I'm not sure how to say your name. If you'd like me to pronounce it in a different way, please let me know. Please let me know. Oh, whoa. So now we're getting back to just a sort of regular old distorted face. It's not to the same extreme because the motion conceptually is that it's sort of settling after it's been spinning. So it has this movement going this direction, which is why this flattened out but then got a little bit larger on this end. Because conceptually, if it's got a sort of soft nature to it, or a gooey sort of viscosity, that's a soft, squishy deal, then that momentum of it spinning would pull elements of it in that direction if it's flattening out in this way. And now what's happening is it's bouncing up again to then eventually settle towards the starting position, which isn't too far off. And then I think what I'm going to do for my own sake is stack these up facing this direction, so it'll be perpendicular to the direction of the live stream. But I'm trying to figure out, ideally what I'm doing is I'm taking these live streams and I'm reformatting them for different platforms like YouTube, and in doing so I have to consider multiple orientations of the animation, because I can eventually I superimpose the animation onto it, and that I can just cover up or replace. But for this live stream, creating the core content, I have to consider it a little bit differently. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer. We're getting closer to when I'll be scanning, and that's a particularly good time to ask a question because it just is a thing that I gotta do, and it takes a little bit of time. And it's not the most visually engaging portion of the process because it's just off to the side. I'm scanning something and you hear the and then it goes again. Too much ink on it. Let's try and get some of that off. Getting closer. 3 more frames. Then I'll stack them and get ready for the scanning bit, and then I'll have digitized them and can play them back in succession, and you can see how the animation actually looks. Two more. I can't listen to music because I'm recording these, and also Instagram cuts you off after like 40 minutes of playing music that's licensed or unlicensed music. And so I have to just go in silence. Stills. Oh, sorry, I didn't listen to the songs. I got distracted yesterday. I was editing a lot of video. Sorry. And I forgot about that. Scanning time. You want a drawing as a Christmas present? It's a little bit late for setting that in motion, but I am trying to figure out the best way to possibly organize the selling of stills. It would probably have to be something like $20 each or something as their original, and they would be signed. and they cost a little bit more to ship in a flat shipping situation with backing board and a sleeve. And if I'm selling in that quantity, I have to buy a lot of those and do a better means of organizing things and such. It seems like something people might be interested in. Also, I'm not sure if you're based in the US, but the shipping for something like that minimum tends to be like an additional $10 to $15. And so international orders would get a little bit pricier even on top of that. Or non-US. I try not to say international because it is international, but it's non-specific depending on where you are. From my perspective, it's international, but from your perspective, it might not be. Ciao, Arima. So now we're going through scanning. This is a slow process, but I enjoy what it lends to the stills that makes it a unique animation in the tail end of things. Because you really get to see the texture of the paper in a way that doesn't come across in photographs. Because a photograph doesn't flatten out and create the same shadows and texture. Because a photograph has a different sort of lighting to it. You also have a pretty extreme depth of field with most scanners, not all scanners. Depth of field, if you're unfamiliar, is a term that means what area is in focus. So typically with a camera, you have, I don't know, a few feet depth of field, depends on a variety of factors, but like if you're shooting with your phone, you usually have a pretty significant depth of field using a camera that's on a phone. But a scanner has a very limited depth of field because it's designed to scan documents, flat items, so it doesn't need to have such a large depth of field. So if you have something that's just fraction, it's like a millimeter off the surface, it'll be out of focus, which means that you get a different sort of textural definition, different visual quality in having that depth of field, which can be advantageous or disadvantageous. Disadvantage is a word, but I don't believe disadvantageous is. If it is, I've never heard it in any sort of actual sense of official language or anything. Like any sort of tool or effect, you can use it to your advantage, or it might be a disadvantage. So like when I have done animations on my hand in the past, things I call hand animation, those, the surface of my hand isn't even, or it isn't flat. It's not flush up against the scanner, the glass of the scanner. Which means that on this scanner that doesn't have a large depth of field, if the components that I need to be featured on my hand aren't like pressed hard up against that surface, then they get blurred pretty easily. Which is also an issue because when I'm scanning those, I'm scanning it at a higher resolution because the area that's actually being displayed eventually is pretty small. So I have to scan it at a high resolution and zoom in on it. Which means those blurred areas are put at a greater extreme, or they're more visibly present. We're about halfway done scanning. Also, scanners tend to have a different sort of blur to them than if you're using like camera lens or something. The blur is a little bit more on a grid. And so it looks a little bit more digital, a little less naturalistic. And so those can be issues as well. But I have a different scanner that I realized the Hello XX Sebastian maybe? I have an older scanner that has an attachment for scanning film on it, and the film isn't super flush up against the surface of the scanner bed, so I believe it's made with a larger depth of field for that reason. But that is why I have used that older scanner with a greater depth of field. You can go like an inch off the surface. I've used that for scanning my hand or less flat of surfaces, and it does a better job with it. So now we get into the portion where I'm not 100% sure how it'll animate in the long run. But hopefully it should look good. It's not a risk, but it's a change, and so it is a risk of some sort, but not a horrific risk. Just the potential to not be exactly what I'm expecting. New Year's is coming up, which does not feel like it. It does not feel like... It feels like a year has passed, but it doesn't feel like this is the holiday season and the end of the year. It also feels like no time has passed. I feel like my sense of time this year... It's a fart noise. Fart noise of confusion and isolation. Can I plug it? Yeah. Getting closer. Got about 10 frames to go. You guys got any questions, concerns, comments, curiosities? I'll continue to do my spiel because people tend to come in and out because this is such a long stream. If you want to watch this stream in the future or previous streams, you can go to youtube.com/c/TraceLoops, or you can just search TraceLoops and you should be able to find my channel and see a bunch of these videos that have been uploaded that are like ranging in length between like 30 minutes to 4 hours and change, which are just recordings of these live streams without the chat visual, so you might run into some situations where I don't restate what the chat responses are or explain things, and so it might be a little bit confusing, but if you're watching now, you get to experience that in person-ish. And you actually get to see the chat, so you have a context to it. I need to take some compressed air to this laptop. This year I've been eating in less official places. And in doing so, it means that I've gotten some crumbs in my laptop in other areas that ideally might not be where those things end up. But we are where we are, and it is what it is. And all you can do is try to fix what you can, which means for me compressed air to get some crumbs out of the crease in my laptop. It's not like it would, without being isolated at home, like I wouldn't eat at my laptop, but I feel like it's happened more frequently this year than in years previous. At the very least, it's a less varied selection of crumbs than what might, on a normal year, end up happening, since I've been cooking a lot of meals. And there's a bit more repetition with that. Haven't been going to restaurants or getting takeout in the same capacity as I would have in years past. Last frame. In a short period of time, I will be able to show you guys the actual animation. Like maybe 5 minutes from that. Scanning this last one so I don't forget it. Get this going here. I need to open up these files and just for my own sake name them in a way that will import better. I guess I skipped one. Let me look at these, number them out, because I only have 39. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Nope. Oh wait, no. No, I am missing one. Let me see. What number am I missing? I'm missing frame number 1. Somehow that one got skipped. Okay. Almost there. My bad. Okay. Now let's scan. Somehow I missed the first one. Rename these items. Okay, should be good here. Now let's load these files into the stack. Browse. Live designs. Oh, these are thrown. Oh, it's doing the weird temp thing. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So that was my issue. It's throwing them in the wrong spot. Okay. Now let's get this going. Live designs, modified. all these guys. Start doing that. And display capture. Now we're going. Down for a moment. It's getting warm. Thank you, your local Isaac. Almost done. Two, one. Create frame animation, make frames from layers. Grab this last one, 0.1, reverse the frames. I'm actually just gonna clean this guy up. And okay, looks good. Let's crop this down. EA. Resize this. 1080. Give it a moment. Throw some. Nope, don't want that. I want curves. Make this a bit darker. Nope, that should be this end of things. Now let's change this playback speed and blow this out. Save this. That's a fine size. Designs, modify. Tom.gif. Save that out. Turn off display capture. Bring in this image. Come on. Give it a moment. Get rid of that. Let's try again. Image. Create new. Browse. Come on. Don't know why it's acting up. Let's try image sequence, image slideshow, and see if that works. Add files. Add directory. Come on, man. Fudge. Don't crash. Cancel there. I just want to move those images. Let's see if I can. Can I pull in? Here, I guess what I'm gonna have to do is just do a window capture. And let me open this up. Desktop, Lab Designs, do. Push this over. Sorry for this. I don't know what's acting up with it. Why it's acting up, but it is. Let's move this to a side. Window capture. Show one. No. Well, that's what I can do. I don't know why it's not letting me just show an image. Just try it once more. Not seeming to work. Let's see. How do I do dual cameras on Instagram? I use OBS to create a stream, and I use Yellow Duck to generate a stream key. This isn't doing it at full frame rate, but for whatever reason, it's messing up trying to import any files. I don't know if it's running hot or something. Oh, it's freaking out. Okay. Properties. Let me just try this once more. It's not going. Okay. Well, it's freaking out a bit, so I'm going to take this opportunity to run through my general spiel. It's freaking out. Okay. Let's turn that window capture off. Wait, can I do display capture? To window. Okay, it's freaking out with that bit. Okay. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to go through my spiel. Sorry that this is messing up the playback. I've had that happen like once before. Just have that running for the moment. It's not freaking out too bad. Okay, so if you want to watch this live stream or previous live streams, you can go to youtube.com/c/TraceLoops, or you can just search TraceLoops and it should pop up with my channel, and it'll have a recording of this as well as previous live streams and some other content as well. If you want to buy this design, this animation on a shirt as its individual stills, or a number of other designs, you can go to traceloops.com/store through the new year. I'm just leaving up all of my live designs that I've created this year, which means that you have like the opportunity to browse through 90 plus designs. And if you want to purchase those and you're based in the US, you can just use that interface. But if you want to buy them and you are not based in the US and you want to have them shipped not based in the US, that's the important aspect, you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com, or you can direct message me here on Instagram or other social platforms that you might be following me on. But those are the two best ones, email being a better option. More likely that I will respond to that in a timely manner. If you want to watch these on a different platform, you can watch them on TikTok. I have a TikTok that's as active as this Instagram, just with fewer stories and such, and same username there. If you have any questions, feel free to direct message me or email me at that aforementioned email address, traceloops@traceloops.com. Don't think I have anything else going on. Tomorrow should be fine with doing another animation live stream, so I'll be doing the letter U is the plan, and it should be a relatively short one, unless it's, I don't know, I'll think through what the actual animation looks like. But if you have any questions, throw them out now or message me. Otherwise, I'm going to head out. I'll say thank you all for watching and give about a minute or so to see if there are any questions in this format, and then I'll come back to it. Doesn't seem like anybody's having any questions, so I'll just say thank you again. Go through youtube.com/c/traceloops. Oh, how long did it take to animate this? How long it takes to make this? This one took about 2.5 hours, give or take. This one's a little bit simpler, not as complex of a tail end of the animation. But usually about 3 hours is about how long these sorts of things take. If you want to watch it in full, you can go to YouTube, search TraceLoops, and see this will be uploaded in the next hour or so. Sometimes it takes a minute to process. Gracias, Connie. Lo siento sobre mi español. Bad. No horrible, pero no puedo recordar que dice bad, mal. Español mal. Gracias y voy a... voy a ir aquí mañana. Son las 3 de tarde. Creo que... I think that makes sense. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow.